Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another Community Connections with Ryan Sauers. Super excited to have two great guests today, and we're going to be talking about the Mountain Park Community Association. I'd like to invite Mike Ososki. I told you I'm going to try to get that. You can correct me in one moment. And Kate Pittman to the show through our video audience and later in our podcast audience. Mike, did I get that right?
Ososki.
I know, I wrote the spelling down. I have a limited ability to do these things. And Mike, welcome show. Kate, welcome to the show.
Thanks for inviting us.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm super glad you guys are here. Well, tell us, just take turns. Tell us a little bit about your background, just, your family, yourself, just so people can get to know you better if they don't know you already.
Okay, Mike, why don't you start?
Well, let's see. Grew up in Wisconsin. Moved to California when I was 19, got into electrical engineering for buildings, did that for 25 years. Moved to Atlanta 25 years ago, continued electrical engineering. And in 2009, when half the world fell apart, I had to reinvent myself and I became a recruiter. Been doing that for 10 years, and I've also been a musician my whole life. I'm a partner with my son in both of these, and my family all lives here too.
Yeah, I'm glad you reminded that. One of the things you and I spoke about on the phone was that I do want to do a story on that. So that's not for this issue, but that musician thing, that's a good one. We talked about that. So man of many talents, welcome. Okay, Kate, how about you?
Well, I moved to the DeKalb County area when I was 10. Back then, Stone Mountain was still had the structures up with the carving being carved.
Mm-hmm.
I'm oldest of 6 children, and I went to University of Georgia, got a degree in geology, moved out west and worked in mining, gold mining, barite mining. I might have been the first, and my husband was saying maybe the youngest mine superintendent, female mine superintendent. But and then I worked in nuclear waste repository design, etc. I got a degree instead of bachelor's in geology and a master's in geological engineering. And then we moved around the country, did a bunch of different things. And in 1998, I was diagnosed with leukemia. So I had a bone marrow transplant in Seattle, and my family's here. So we moved here because we have a daughter, and we needed help. And so anyway, 20 years later, this is what I'm doing is, trying to make the community a place that will last. I don't really have the energy to move, so I want to stay here, and I want it to work out. I was attracted to the Lilburn area because of the trees and how pretty it was. My parents and my family live over more like Johns Creek and Swanee. And I could get more house, better yard with the green, and I liked it. And so even though it wasn't quite as convenient, we moved here, and it was a good choice. And we actually lucked into the school system. We didn't research it. So my daughter graduated from the whole Parkview system. She was in 9-10.
Good. Well, both of y'all's backgrounds are quite amazing, and you've been the travelers and been in many occupations. So, and we got listeners from around the country and the globe. So we're talking about Gwinnett County, Metro Atlanta, Georgia, and we all happen to live in this area we're speaking of. We're going to talk about in a moment. So if we're talking about stuff you don't understand, just think Metro Atlanta, right inside Gwinnett, not far from DeKalb County. And so that's what we're talking about today. But tell us a little bit, because I want to focus in on you talking about it's a Community Connections show. And this show began, we interview leaders from every sector, pastors, principals, business owners. You guys are doing something pretty neat. I think since actually I'm in the same area where I live, but it's the Mountain Park Community Association, if I'm saying that right. Tell us a little bit about that, or just what you've been working on, what's driving that, and I whoever wants to jump in, go for it.
You want me
I
to,
can give
Mike?
you a high-level description just to start.
Okay.
We want to strengthen the community voice and its credibility, and help direct the character of change and development, both residential and commercial. So that's my one sentence pitch. Kate, you can add, I know.
Yeah, I could go on for a long time because I've been thinking about this for 20 years. Uh, since we moved here, I just started seeing things happen. Um, you know, development, but trees getting cut down, and think there needs to be a plan so that as development happens, it happens in a way that's attractive and adds value to our community, and we can continue to be proud of it. So it just came as a way of, the county's large and the districts with our commissioner is large. And so it would be nice to get, people seem to think of their subdivision as where they live, but your store and your school and all that is not necessarily in your subdivision. So we're a bigger community. And so the whole idea is to advocate for this area, to try to serve the community, but through advocating for the things they need. So we might get collaboration with business partners or other organizations, and then some of the things I would like to do, because we have the commissioner, Ben Koo, has after the first meeting, he agreed that this should actually become formal, so that we would have, so that when things happen, there's not just one person, just Kate Pittman, the grouchy old lady, shows up and complains. Is that a whole group of people say, yes, this is what we want, or, they're putting in a road, why don't you put in sidewalks while you're at it? So one of the
Power in numbers kind of thing.
Yeah.
Numbers. And one of the first things, I mean, it's one of many things, but the first thing that seemed the most kind of easy to do was to start asking for sidewalks around the commercial districts, because kids can go to the gym. There's that gymnastics place, and somebody wrote on our Facebook page, well, it'd be nice if there was a sidewalk so that we could go over to the fast food joint around the corner. And the infrastructure's there. There's the wheelchair ramps and a button to push, but there's no sidewalks to get there. And, so that's just a start. Then there's other things like the parks. The way the county works, at least the way I figure it works, is if there's something happening right there on a street, they will contact the neighbors and tell them, if they're going to do this, but they don't contact the community. So if we as a community get together and kind of interact with the county and find out about a sidewalk going through and that they're going to take out these trees, for instance, Rockbridge was one of those incidents. Well, we could say if we knew about it ahead of time, we might have been able to say, well, that's great, but could you put it on the other side of the street? Because then you could leave all those trees. So we have, and if you're going to build a park, which is great, can you add, leave some of the things that we might like, or add some things that the senior, the older community, or the new families, not necessarily just kids with, kids in ball teams and whatever. Not that I have anything against ball teams. It's just they have very nice parks. Actually, I want to say between Killian Hill and Rockbridge, we have 3 county parks. And then we're right in the shadow of Stone Mountain. So Mountain Park is a great name for the place.
Yeah, it's an interesting area. Again, I said I actually live in it, so it's we fall outside of one city of Lilburn. It's kind of this unincorporated area. So when Mike and I were talking, I'm talking on personally. It's kind of a no man's land, but yet people want their voice heard. So I think this is really important that people hear about it, can become part of it. Mike, what do you think during this period? Obviously, we've had our businesses or different things that have been crazy during the since 2020 began pretty much. But right now, from your perspective, and I'll come back to you in a second, Kate, what are you looking for in terms of people to join this movement that are going to be listening or watching the show?
Well, probably 2 aspects, maybe 3 aspects of that. One would just be, like I said earlier, power in numbers. We've got, between our Facebook group and our association, we've probably got over 600 people already signed up and involved. Leadership would be very important in that. So we're looking for people that will take ownership of certain aspects of this, whether that be marketing, publicity, recruiting, county connections, nearby community connections like Snellville or Tucker. as you know, there's no end to what can be done here. So the people to lead those sorts of things and head up committees and make things happen, be proactive, which is, I think, a very good um, call over the whole thing, because as we all know with government, reactive is often how it is. Like Kate was saying earlier, if we know in time, we can, as a group, 600 people, maybe 1,000 or more, that's quite a weight to have our voice be considered in whatever change is being proposed around here.
Yeah, well, that's spot on, and I think we're going to be getting this out, and hopefully you guys will be sharing the links and so forth. But there's going to be people saying, "Hey, you know what's going on? I want to be part of that." Because instead of getting on Facebook and just ranting about something, such as my trash didn't get picked up, which has happened to me. I mean, yes, I ultimately get through, but it's a lot more powerful when the whole area comes through. Kate, any things in particular that I Mike did a great job there that you want people to know about or how they can be involved?
Well, one of the things, just by getting on the email list for we have a web page and we have an email, and just get on the list so that you can be notified of the meetings. We have with a commissioner, we're trying to do quarterly meetings, and we've actually been able to do that through the pandemic. And I wanted to say there's a lot of things, at least from my perspective, that before the pandemic, we had businesses, and you could name them, the drugstore on the corner or the Ingles on Five Forks that, it's been gone a long time. And then there's been a lot of vacancies. So what we really need is some attention. And the county is set up to do this. I'm looking at here, I actually during the pandemic, I actually met with 2 members of the county through the planning department, Catherine Long of Long Range Planning, nice name there, and another fellow named Roman Vicare, who's with, I'm looking at what, Economic Development or Redevelopment Opportunities, I think is his department. And so just looking at that, and we had also had a meeting, Mike and myself and a couple other people had a Zoom meeting with the director of planning, and they have so many resources that us common people don't know about, that it was really it was excellent to find them. So I took them on a 3-hour tour, seriously, and they wear masks, lots of social distancing, 3 cars in our individual cars, and I, linked up the phone so that I could talk to them. And so I just gave them a tour, and we got out, and there's lots of pointing about, what's here and what's there and what used to be there and what would be nice if it'd be there. And it was a really good meeting. I have, like I said, for 20 years, I go to the pool, I go to different places, and I just noticed that there's a strip of houses, for instance, across from the pool that I've seen over the pool's been there 16 years, that they have a roof fell in and it got bulldozed, and I realized, okay, this land is all kind of up in the air. And we also have some major shopping centers that have absentee owners, or they're just kind of letting them fall apart. So I don't know if it's an intention or just because they're not here, but we need to have input also from the business community and some of the people. It'd be nice. There's plenty of businesses that have their owners live here, and that would be a good place to start to get them on. And also through the churches and other organizations, we're not to collaborate, because there's needs. Even somebody reached out to me from the Lilburn Co-op, and I was saying, well, there's things that I have no idea. I have all kinds of ideas, but there's lots of things the community might need that perhaps this group could at least be a part of and join them in some way to advocate for the entire community, not just what I want. But so one of the things I was saying, there's some buzzwords. One of them is quality of life. And like I said, I'd like to live here. I think Mike wants to live here. Obviously, you've lived here a long time and apparently want to stay. And so if we could do anything to improve the quality of life.
Can you put a beach near here? That would be good. Yeah, that's what I would like that, if you make that happen. No, let me jump in real quick, Kate, because we got a few minutes left. I want to say something real quick. It's crazy in all the stuff I do, how many overlaps are in Snellville and Lilburn and Tucker and churches and schools that are actually overlapping doing the same things. And I've seen it over and over again. So the beautiful thing is with what you guys are working on, I can just tell you this firsthand, is you're going to see, oh my God, we need a partner in this. And so I think what you're trying to say, you can give a voice to an area. You're right that, HOAs and, trying to do it by themselves, but coming together, power in numbers, but then partnering with other groups in schools and churches and nonprofits that actually want to tackle some other issues becomes even more powerful. And that's but coming back to this gives this area a voice. And I know that's what you're trying to say, because, quite frankly, as I think about it, doesn't really have it per se. I mean, it's kind of a lot of people trying to do the right thing and make things better, but it's not formal. And I know that's what you guys have put in place.
Well, there's, when you think about, there's places, and right now the places I'm thinking of are cities, but they weren't always cities, like Swanee and Johns Creek and, Norcross and Duluth have been cities, but there's county money going into all these places. And there's no reason why we shouldn't get some of that. And the only reason why we're not is that we haven't, as somebody said earlier, and he says, well, Mountain Park is just this quiet little place and they don't make much noise. So I guess the lesson is make some noise.
Yeah, and I applaud what you guys have started. And as we let's do this before we forget, how can they connect through your Facebook page or your website? Please tell our audience how to get in contact with you. What are some ways they can do that?
I wish I'd done a thing to hold up, but we have a web page. It's called mountainparkcommunity.us.
Mountainparkcommunity.us. Okay.
Yes, and there's a contact us page, link on there, and you can put in your email address, and you'll be put on our list as members, and you'll get meeting announcements and summaries of meetings. If you wanted to contact us directly, the email that goes to is, it's kind of a odd, it's MTN for Mountain Park, PARK, and then CA at
Community Association.
CA at gmail.com. So it's MTN PARK CA at gmail.com.
Okay.
I'll also mention we have our facebook.com/group/Mountain Park Community.
Yeah, that's open to everybody that wants to.
That's a good group, and we'll we'll get these links to you guys so you can share them in there, and we'll share them and get more people to join. So, all right, we got a couple minutes left. So, last things you want to say to our audience before we close this out of for what you guys are working on, and there's people that like to sit on the sidelines. I've seen this throughout my life and talk about what's wrong and not do anything about what they'd like to change. So, Mike?
I'd like to add one other thing
Sure.
here. It wasn't mentioned yet. We have an extremely diverse community here, ethnically and internationally. This zip code 30047 is hugely diverse, and we want to have inclusivity in our group as well. So anybody else that is from anywhere else or wants to be a part of representing their sliver of this, we welcome that as well. So please reach out to us anytime, and let's make it happen good for everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I also want to say that actually, if the Mountain Park in that area is actually in the Stone Mountain zip code, even though it's in Gwinnett County, so our outreach is actually over the county lines. But so the two zip codes, and like you said, it's kind of a hodgepodge. We've got zip codes, we've got counties, we've got the city and unincorporated. But as far as just attend a meeting, right now we're doing Zoom and it's working very well. I asked the commissioner to add a telephone number, so if somebody doesn't have internet connection, you don't have to have have a voice, like audio. If you have video, that's great. If you don't, you could do a phone call. So I will put that link, I will send that link to anybody that gives us our email. I don't want to just put it out there, although we need to talk about that. But we have a public meeting.
Is the, oh, go ahead, Kate. You're going to say it now.
The public meeting is Thursday, September 20th at 7 p.m. And that's going to be an open forum with the Commissioner Koo, but just to talk about, we're going to solicit information or questions from our Facebook page and maybe Nextdoor and other platforms. And then also in October the 5th, that's a Monday, at 7 p.m., there'll be another meeting, and that will be with the planning department. And even if somebody doesn't, if you want to know what's going on, just attend. You don't have to participate. You don't have to volunteer. Just show up. And that's right there. That's the biggest thing. Showing up is the best thing that anybody can do before they decide if they want to, do any more than that. And
that's what they say. For success in life, you show up. Kate, I was wondering, I thought we had one later this month, August 20th.
Did I do the wrong date? I am sorry. I put September. It's August.
August.
I can't be counted on.
All right.
It's Thursday, August 20th and October 5th.
August 20th, October 5th. All right. Well, thanks for the clarification, Mike. And I appreciate both of you guys and what you're doing. And we'll, like I said, we'll get this thing shared out. I hope you guys will be sharing it out so we can let community members know ways to get involved. And Mike and Kate with, Mountain Park Community Association. I appreciate both of you guys taking time to come on the Community Connection Show today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, and you're welcome.
All right, guys. Thanks again. Folks, you've been listening to another Community Connections with Ryan Sauers. And until next time, stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks, everyone.